afternoon, Babylon. Randy Yarborough here with you this Wednesday, July the 15th, the year 2015 of my Lord and Savior, the Lord and Savior, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. There is no king but King Jesus. The thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. All been done before. We just changed the actors on the stage, technology, and the terminology. Change a little, but oh well. We'll just continue to repeat the mistakes of history over and over and over and over again, never ever seeming to learn. So, since there's nothing really new going on, a few housekeeping notes. National conference call for the farmers' norm. Anyone else out there that wants an honest money system. We have a plan. It has worked well in the past. You need to find out about it. So you're invited to join us every Saturday and Tuesday, 5 p.m. Mountain, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, 4 Pacific. The number to call is 712-432-0926. 712-432-0926. Also want to thank First Amendment Radio, FirstAmendmentRadio.com for rebroadcasting us up over their satellite and internet network. We thank all those listeners out there at FirstAmendmentRadio.com. Also want to thank GeoMediaNetwork.com, rebroadcasting us every weeknight, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, and other times also. So check your schedule there at GeoMediaNetwork.com. Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Mountain Time on MediaBroadcastingCenter.com. Thanks to Kevin for doing that for us. What else we got here? Quote, and how we burned in the camps, later thinking, what would things have been like if every security operative, when he went out at night to make an arrest, had been uncertain whether he would return alive or had to say goodbye to his family? Or if during periods of mass arrest, as for example in Leningrad, when they arrested a quarter of the entire city, people had not simply sat in their lars, paling with terror at every bang of the downstairs door and at every step on the staircase, but had understand they had nothing left to lose, and had boldly set up in the downstairs hall an ambush of half a dozen people with axes, hammers, pokers, or whatever else was at hand. The organs would very quickly have suffered a shortage of officers and transport, and notwithstanding all of Stalin's thirst, the cursed machine would have ground to a halt. If we didn't love freedom enough, and even more, we had no awareness of the real situation, we purely and simply deserved everything that happened afterwards. And we're back. The show is To Free America here on the American Freedom Network. And we need your help, folks. Simple as that. Need your help. Keep this light shining, this radio station up and running. The phone bill paid, the light bill paid. Keep the squirrel fed out there running in the transmitter so this signal goes out to you. We need your help. Call Michael, 800-205-6245. 800-205-6245. You can make a pledge on. My guest today, Larry Taylor, watchman on the wall out there, intercessor, trying to awaken the slumbering masses, and out there, just observing the flow of the river denial past his mountain getaway. Larry Taylor, welcome.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you for having me.
Well, last time you were on, it was June 11th, okay? So, a lot of things have happened since June 11th, hasn't there?
Oh, my, absolutely.
We've got the 5 little G gods on the Supreme Court saying, we got to tear all those pages out of the Bible that reference the abomination of sodomy, don't we?
Oh, it's what's happened is literally that's been turned into so-called hate speech. I mean, that's where we're at.
So, Oh, I better watch it then. Uh-oh. I'll have the FBI showing up here down at the gate again.
Oh, my.
Oh, my. Oh, my. Well, I just, today they're kicking off Jade Helm, and I just wanted the folks out there to feel confident, all of you folks out there to just feel confident as you're sitting there sucking down your denial juice, that Jade Helm here will keep you safe from everyone that would, dare to defend your rights. Because when all of the dissidents are all rounded up, they're the denial of your rights will be complete. That's what's happening.
One thing that they haven't. I was watching today. They were talking some more about pizza and a lot of the foodstuffs and how that was so bad for the general public, and the calories that's in it and all this kind of stuff. And I was thinking, you guys in Washington, D.C., you haven't slowed down the drip of the Kool-Aid, have you? The Kool-Aid's still flowing mighty free, and it just keeps on putting people back to sleep. Even if they try to wake up a little bit, they nod right back off, sucking that Kool-Aid.
Yes. Well, as long as the Kool-Aid has aspartame in it, that's good. But we just can't have these sugary drinks. And just wait, folks. The abomination care / death care / death squads will be there, deciding what you can buy at the grocery store, especially if you've got an EBT card. It's just a matter of time, isn't it, Larry?
Oh, absolutely. One of the main items that you'll be able to get, well, maybe not freely, but let's say one of the subsidies you can probably get, Washington will be right behind, is the section in the store called Soylent Green. There's going to be a big push on Soylent Green soon.
Yes, there is.
You ever get to see that movie again?
I got a friend sending it to watch it. Yes, they didn't have it. They didn't have it down at the video store.
It's not. It's really not a politically correct movie. And very interestingly, the other day, the Pop Channel on television was showing episodes of Jericho again, and I was really shocked to stumble across that. I thought, wow. That's one thing, and I think you've seen Jericho, season 1 and season 2 before they canceled it. But interestingly, Jericho is really a good show to sit down and to sit your family down and discuss options as the show plays, because there's a lot of conspiracy, there's a lot of intrigue, and there's a lot of truth embedded in Jericho. And really, it's a good show to watch and talk about how to plan and what not to do. There's a lot of what not to do's in there, but it's very, very interesting.
Yes. The other show is Revolution.
That's true.
That one where the power grid's down and what life has turned into without the power grid.
What's interesting, and I know you've got it coming up tomorrow, I guess, but the book Day of the Dead by Dan Gordon, his book is a microcosm in the Middle East, but it relates a lot to America.
Yes, absolutely. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we're back. Larry Taylor, my guest. You can find his blog, get signed up for his email alerts and what's going on. Just drop him a note at LarryWTaylor.org. It's www.LarryWTaylor.org. Where were we? Jade Helm. Jade Helm is is starting today. Already reports of, a limited access to drop calls, slow cellular service. They're planning possible power outages in the where was that? That's the Southern California. Because they're going to be practicing close to a power station outlet there, and don't be surprised, folks, if your power goes out and by the California-Nevada border. And told the locals, don't worry about it. If you're getting 911 calls, just tell them, well, it's just a practice exercise. Your power will eventually come back on. Yes.
It's so amazing. I mean, it's so amazing. And the American people, they just sit back and, just continue on. Tomorrow, the next day. Everything's going to be as it's always been. I mean, that's what America thinks, but I'll tell you what, the rest of the world knows better.
Yes. The rest of the world knows better.
It's kind of interesting. Yeah, Randy, it's kind of interesting. But we all know that socialism has been a total failure everywhere it's ever rose up. Everywhere they've ever tried to implement it, it was a collapse, total failure, which caused death in the populations.
Yes.
And with that track record, the American people to let this come up again right here, take root and grow and take over. Wow, what can you say? The Nile River never got so deep.
Well, just look at Greece, okay? Just look at Greece and the situation they're in. That, let's see, you only need to work 20, 25 hours a week, and you'll make as much as you did when you were working 40 hours a week, and you can retire when you're 45 or 50, and the pensions will be there forever and never go away, and all this stuff, and now it's coming home to roost.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, in this country, just ask the folks, ask the if you know any retirees that retired from working for the city of Detroit, how well their pension plans are going now.
Well, look at where they're all going. I mean, seriously. They're all going. I mean, really, really going. They're living on I don't even think, there's an old term, licking a promise. We don't even have the lick. I mean, it's just simply a promise. And the promise is no good. Have you ever heard the truth come out of Washington, D.C. in many years? No. And that's because they haven't told the truth in Washington, D.C. in so long, they literally have forgotten how. It's not even in the dictionary located there. You can go over to the TRUTH, it's missing. And so what you get out of Washington, D.C. is never the truth. They've literally forgot how to tell the truth. And so this is what we see. I mean, all the promises, everything's going to be so good, blah, 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 blah. It's baloney. I mean, my part of the country, we call it baloney. And maybe some parts of the country, they call it dung. I don't know. But we've come to that point where the lies are running out. They're literally running out.
Well, and that's what they're preparing for, is that the truth will, the Lord said everything done in secret would all be revealed. And, they really, really don't like the Internet because people can go there and look at, maybe the truth is out there someplace, Larry.
Well, you have to search for it. I mean, it is out there, and biblically, it's laying out in the street somewhere. You've literally got to go hunting it. Maybe it's laying in an alley behind some, tavern or something, but, it's out there. It's been beat up, banged up, run aground, roughshod, run over. I mean, the truth has been chased all over America trying to get it to get completely gone. But interestingly, though, it's still out there laying around. You might find it kind of battered. Just start peeling the onion skin layers back and read what it says, and you'll be shocked.
Well, but, you know, can't happen here. It can't happen in America and our wonderful Christian nation. Larry? No.
Oh, my.
Oh, my.
Let me read you something out of Brad Thor, which is a great writer. He always writes kind of interesting stuff. He's got a new book just came out a few days ago called Code of Conduct. Let me read you a little paragraph here.
Sure.
He was talking about the government. It says, they had no idea how government worked, much less how important government workers were to the continued function. Without federal employees, it all stopped. All of it. Fees at national parks didn't get collected. School lunch regulations didn't get enforced. Borders were left unprotected, and that was only the beginning. The inmates wanted to run the asylum. There was no way that could ever be allowed to happen. Anything that grows is, by definition, alive. Washington, D.C. was no exception. As a living organism, the federal government's number one job was self-preservation. Any threat to its existence had to be dealt with. When the country class came with its pathetic rhetorical torches and meddling electoral pitchforks, New Rome was ready, talking about America. It fought back with tools no one had ever seen coming. New Rome weaponized its own federal agencies, the Internal Revenue Service, the Department of Justice, the Environmental Protection Agency, the Bureau of ATF. They all swatted away each and every attack. The country class could storm the battlements over and over. They didn't stand a chance. Not only could you not fight City Hall, you couldn't survive a fight with the federal government. New Rome could take every single thing you have and put you in prison. It wasn't even a fair fight. It wasn't supposed to be.
There we are. The life of the beast is being threatened.
Absolutely, and Brad Thor wrote that. It's this year's book. It's a new novel just out called Code of Conduct, and he's always a very interesting person, the things he writes. It's really, you know, his books for a number of years now, there have been embedded warnings. But you know what? Even like he wrote The Blacklist, Full Black. It's, I mean, really, really books to warn you on where things would go. And, Randy, nobody listens. But I guess if they're not going to listen to the Word of God, I don't see any reason they would even listen to, the oracle, so to speak, from those that study the government and write about it and where it's going.
Yes. I mean, we've got all these leaks from Edward Snowden and all of this and WikiLeaks and everything else, bearing the corruption and the lies and the deceit of the people that animate government. And, there's none of them going to jail.
Oh, they're not even accountable. I mean, seriously, not even accountable when they lie, cheat, and steal, and even murder. There's no accountability. Just like Brad Thor's book warned about, federal employees, they're on a roll. I mean, they're defending their turf. It used to be our turf, the country, the people. Now it's all theirs, and we're on the outside. We're what they call the country folks that come to try to bother them.
Yeah. How dare you ask me questions? How dare you? How dare you question my authority? The abomination gave me a badge as dog catcher. How dare you? I don't know, Larry. It's just, what's your take on the? I'll get into an article here about Planned Parenthood, but I don't want to do it right this moment.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know where that's going, but yeah.
The judgment, where,
Oh, my. I do not see, even though I wished we could avoid it, I see no way that the Creator can wink that much longer. We have gone too far, and do you ever even hear the word repentance anymore anywhere?
No.
That is another one of those. That's even more than politically incorrect. That is a forbidden term.
Well, TV preachers won't utter it because, the donations might fall off. The economy's gotten bad, and our donations have fallen off, and we need fuel for our Lear jets and our Gulfstream jets so we can fly around the world and spread the gospel. Yes.
Well, I got news for them. They better hurry up and spend what little bit of money they got, because it's just about, the game's about over. Not only for America, the whole planet. I mean, the game's about done, and it's not going to be a pretty picture.
No, it's not. 877-254-7524. Question, comment, phone lines are open on this, Jade Helm Day. We'll just mark this down as Jade Helm Day. And see.
Yeah, while we're talking about such politically incorrect stuff, whoever years ago thought that there would be any such thing in this nation as the Jade Helm 15? Never. And of course, Randy, I do believe that there's a bigger purpose going on here. You put all together a lot of the dots, you still don't have the complete picture. I think that possibly Jade Helm 15 really is a bigger picture than we expected. When you used to go to a dollar store or something, you could buy a box full of puzzle pieces and you put them together and it made a really pretty picture. I think that with Jade Helm, you get a little box about 4 inches by 6 inches, but the picture when you put it together is over 50 square miles. It's there's a whole lot in there. There's a whole lot in that box, and we're just seeing the beginning.
If I got I'll try and find the date here. Hageman had a gal on, DJ, has been looking into this whole thing, and her research, it turned up that Jade, and she calls it Jade 2, which is version 2, is a software program, an artificial intelligence program, to be able to master the human domain, the human terrain, that the forces in the field now in unconventional warfare, since, we're not lining up tanks and howitzers and artillery against the enemy anymore. The enemy is us.
Exactly. That's why the barbed wire faces in, not out.
Yeah. Yes.
One of the interesting things, it seems to me a lot of Jade Helm appears to be actually to some degree a mind game. It's a mental operation.
It's a psyops operation.
It's a psyops operation, exactly. But there probably will be some material operations also.
Oh, absolutely. 877-254-7524. Question, comment? Phone lines are open here on the American Freedom Network. And we're back. Phone lines are open. 877-254-7524. Question, comment for my guest, Larry Taylor. You can sign up for his email alerts. Just drop him an email go to LarryWTaylor.org. LarryWTaylor.org. Jade Helm 15. Yes, starting up today. Well, it's been running. They've been testing the system. Yes. Quote, who needs direct repression When one can convince the chicken to walk freely into the slaughterhouse, unquote. That's what we've done. That's what the American people have done, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's interesting, nobody even recognized a number of years ago when G.W. Bush made the remark that, the Constitution was just a damn piece of paper.
Right.
I mean, that didn't click. That didn't click with anybody, and I'm thinking, well, the President of the United States said that. I'm thinking that when that happened, I'm thinking, you don't think that's important? Well, it really wasn't, because I don't even think he got questioned about it. And back then I said, whoops, there's a dot. And then, of course, today, isn't it interesting how many people in America today think that, the Constitution is protecting them when you realize what Constitution? I mean, with Washington, D.C., that place within the Beltway, totally lawless, completely, totally lawless. Every single day, a lawless nature, I guess you could say a beast nature, runs that city and or that empire. And at the end of the day, no matter how many atrocities have occurred, whether it's political, whether it's an actual material event or any other thing, there's no consequences. They're totally lawless, and there are no consequences. And it's all over the nation. And the people of America, they look at that. Well, we are chickens wandering around in our stupid little chicken yard.
Yeah.
And that you're exactly right. You don't need anybody to hurt them very much. You can even train chickens. You can put a little feed in just one spot, and they'll automatically start going to that spot, waiting on the food.
Every time.
Yeah. So in America, we pretty well trained everybody to go to their places. I mean, and now they're even telling us what chicken feed to eat now. So,
well,
it's interesting.
We go back 20 years, 1995, right after Oklahoma City, and Bill Clinton's up there giving a speech railing about the right-wing militias, the right-wing constitutionalists and all of this, and he's railing on them, and then he says, there is no freedom.
Yep.
He didn't correct himself and say, oh, I misspoke or anything else. He told you the truth, folks.
But even back then, mainstream media knew what to not talk about, and they've been trained well.
Oh yeah, they're bought and paid for. I mean, we got the best propaganda machine the world has ever seen. And
absolutely. And what I find so interesting, Randy, for so many years, Stuart Best and I were both just called nuttier than a fruitcake kind of people, because we would continually talk about Babylon. And we must be the dumbest people ever lived to somehow equate Babylon to this great country, America. But you know what, Randy? The last year or two, I haven't had even one remark from anyone saying that I was really off the mark all that much. I mean, you can just every day open your front door and walk outside, Babylon hit you right in the face.
Yes. And, the Lord, well, here's a question. The Lord gave us in Jeremiah, Isaiah, Revelation, He gave us 4 witnesses to come out of Babylon. Is that a physical coming out?
That's a hard question, but I'll answer it anyway. This is Larry Taylor's personal opinion. People don't have to really get riled about it at all. My personal opinion is, do what the Spirit and the Word tells you to do. Now, there's a whole lot of confusion begins right there, because nobody knows what the Spirit and the Word says, hardly. There's very few know what the written Word says, because they don't read it anymore, and not a lot of people hear the Spirit talking anyway, so they're clueless. And so right there, I've just cast a lot of confusion out there amongst the people. But I get it all the time. What should I do? It's almost the situation of where Jesus is, is at the garden, and one of his, I guess you could say watchmen, a couple of them there were carrying swords, and they cut the ear of one of the guards off, or those that came to arrest him. And, you never heard Jesus say, whoa, we don't carry swords. We don't do that kind of thing. We're helpless. We're just totally helpless. We don't ever threaten anybody. You know what he said, basically, if I can paraphrase it? He basically said, not now. This isn't the time, is what he said. Now, of course, he came to give himself, up as a sacrifice, and that's exactly what happened. But what if down the road, what if we're in an interlap right now, an overlap, in other words, of the end of the age of grace and the beginning of the millennium, and the overlaps are really kind of confusing, because remember when, Jesus stood up in the temple and read the Word. I mean, he read the Torah. Now, he was doing that because that was what he was required to do under the law, but yet he was the Savior. He was the age of grace itself, and walking around right there amongst the law, even though it was kind of unlawful till it became so. So you've got an overlap between the law and grace. And it was really a confusing time because, he had to just walk. People couldn't understand the thing, He had to just walk off amongst them because they wanted to kill him, So are we at a different time now? Maybe we're not back in that Garden of Gethsemane, okay? Maybe we're not back under the law. Maybe we have come a way further down the spiritual road, so to speak, and we are in a different time, and who's to say, what if I decide to defend my family with my sword, whatever my sword chooses to be? Samson's sword he picked up the jawbone of an ass. Maybe I'll pick up a rock to defend my wife. Maybe I'll pick up a limb, a two-by-four. Maybe I'll pick up something more automatic than that. But, I'm not real big on telling people how to react. I just don't understand people that submit where in all reality you're not told to,
Well, but the FEMA preachers,
oh, I know.
Well, we'll get into that after the break. Stay tuned. Question, comment, phone lines are open. Phone lines are open, 877-254-7524. Question, comment for my guest, Larry Taylor. You can sign up for his email alerts and his news blasts at LarryWTaylor.org. LarryWTaylor.org. Just drop you an email, say, put me on the list. Put me on another list. Everybody's on a list. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that. Matter of fact, like Brad Thor wrote, he wrote one called Blacklist. He said there's only one way to get off of it, and that's, of course, wind up killed.
6 foot under, huh?
I'm telling you. Hey, let me answer that question. You asked me about Babylon. Yeah. I don't think that the original Babylon in Iraq is the only Babylon. I think there's literally, Babylon to me is a concept. It's a way of life. Babylon is other than by the Spirit, in other words. I think that America has become more Babylon over the years, and now we're bearing the fruit of Babylonian fruit. I mean, and there may be another Babylon even. I don't know, every few hundred years or so, God sometimes seems like he has to destroy another Babylon along the way,
Yes.
And my word, what I would tell people, if the way is made for you to escape physically from where you're at, do it. I mean, if the way is made, go. But if the way is not made, what can I tell you? Stand and it's almost like, it's almost like saying everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to go today, okay?
Yes. Everybody, yes. Well, everybody's going to be in heaven, but, well, not to worry about it. We'll just,
But no, for the people that have literally took it up on themselves to get out of America, right now, they might be wise. Maybe if they had a way to do it, that's perfectly fine. Everybody won't find that they have a way. Number one, it takes an open door, more or less. You have to deal with passports. You have to deal with customs and other countries' laws, and you've got to your other properties. Also, Randy, you've got to have money. You're not going to do this going down and borrowing 15 cents from somebody. You know, I mean, there has to be a way to do these things. And but if there is, I don't know why you wouldn't go. Actually, literally, the rest of the world appears to be less Babylonian now than America, and I find that's counterclockwise almost. I mean, before, it seemed like the rest of the world was more that way, and we were really trying to walk a narrower path, so to speak, but now it's just reversed itself, and, it's certainly changes in the last few years, and I begrudge no one that feels like they need to go when they go. And but then again, there's a whole lot that just simply can't. But then again, Randy, because of various reasons like families and jobs, a lot won't. Even if they could, they won't. So, and I'm glad I'm not the judge. I know a righteous judge that will have all the notes, okay? On Judgment Day, there's a righteous judge who will have all the notes, but you won't have any untruth there. You won't be able to make up stuff, or you won't be able to cover anything up, and they'll all stand before him, and I'm sure glad it's not me doing the judging.
Yeah, well, they'll stand before him, and Lord, didn't we do all these things in your name? Didn't we cast out demons? Didn't we prophesy? Didn't we eat in your presence? You taught in our streets. Depart from me. I never knew you. I never knew where you were.
He says, you call me Lord, why don't you just do what I say? And they don't.
I don't know. Well, but the FEMA preachers, Larry, the FEMA preachers are saying that, Romans 13 got to do what the government says because, well, God's the one to put it there, so... the government is the divine right. It's the arm of God. It's the
Randy. That the same psychology that speaks of goes along with the Catholic Church telling you that everything that the Pope says is holy and from heaven. And don't you know better than that? We got to take the word. The word's a whole lot. There should be like salt. It should have some flavor. And the trouble is, most of the word anymore that people read has been watered down to where there's no flavor to it. We're even coming up with Bibles now. They're taking everything out of it, including now I heard that they're going to have to remove homophobic names and it is just the deniers. They deny that, I guess, that any of this was ever written, and if it was, get rid of all that is written on. I mean, that's where we're going, but what these people don't realize, the biggest stumbling block, actually, to all of this humanity, literally that's trying to fix things so they can sneak by, is that God, the Creator is not a man. The Bible's very clear. He's not a man. He is not a man. You're not even dealing with a man, so don't try to trick him. Don't try to fool him. Don't try to act like you never heard those words or you don't understand them, because I think really, I think a Creator built us individually, because I can look at my fingerprints, Randy, and they're different from yours. He built us individually with His desire in our DNA. So when Judgment Day comes, you won't be making up something about you didn't get to read this or you read that and it said something different. You already know you're a liar when you're standing there. And then I may be in the I might be in the butt standing there with the road dryer on my forehead a little bit. I've been there before years ago, and I've pled the blood since then and did a lot of repenting. But, mankind's not ready for what's coming. I can just say that very clearly. Mankind is not ready for what's coming, and God is not a man. And if you think he is, oh my.
You're going to, wake up to the truth of it all. Wake up to the truth of it all.
And, I have to agree a little bit with Augusto Perez, I know there's people that want us to think there's 50 or 100 more years for this thing to line out. I'm not so sure about that.
No, it's all coming together. Just as the signs the Lord said would happen. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Phone lines are open, 877-254-7524. Question, comment for Larry Taylor, my guest today. Celebrating Jade Helm Day, yes, the kickoff of this great and wonderful exercise. You can sign up for Larry's email alerts. Go to larrywtaylor.org. larrywtaylor.org. His daily blog is there. You can email him from there and say, put me on the list. Yes. Red list, blue list, yellow list, green list. Just put me on the list.
There's
one list you need to be, everyone needs to search out, seek out with all their heart, mind, soul, and effort is the list that's contained in the Book of Life.
Yeah, and what's a little bit eerie about that, too, is the fact that the Word of God says that your name can be removed.
Yeah. Oh.
We forget about that.
No.
Oh, maybe they'll get that one erased. I don't know. Or at least redacted, okay?
Yeah. Here's the new Bible. We have all of these, hundreds of verses all blacked out.
Yeah, and after the first chapter of the new Bible, which was so redacted, it says, see John run.
Yeah. Oh, good. See John dunk the people in the Jordan. Yes.
Now the next hour we do need to talk a little bit about the Middle East and what's going on there. Speaking of Jordan and such, that's a powder keg. I mean that, and with this new situation, I know we got to take a break in a minute, and I won't go into it, but this new so-called Iran nuclear deal, that sets the Middle East up for a real conflagration.
Well, and I don't know if you watched PBS last night, Frontline. They had a show on the refugees, ISIS in Syria and Iraq there, that groups are taken on to try and free children, the women and children that ISIS have kidnapped and hauled off.
I'd heard about that. Yeah, I didn't see that show, but I've heard about the resistance they're beginning to try to mount amongst the different groups that have been slaughtered and just taken hostage over there.
And I mean, they're slaughtering. I mean, it was incredible. Here we are. Okay, supposed to have the best intelligence agencies, and we've got these guys with little cell phones going in, taking the videos of ISIS and everything else, and setting up the rescue of the kidnapped women and children that have basically become the slaves of demon-possessed individuals.
Exactly. They call that human intelligence. We used to have that in the United States till we got this smart thing. I don't know. Maybe it's AI, artificial intelligence, up in Washington now. It's operating everything, and we don't have human intelligence anymore. That's why we don't even know what the enemy's doing.
No. We'll just look down from up here a couple 100 miles in the sky. Yeah.
And that's on a spiritual level, too. We don't know what the enemy's doing on that level either.
Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back after the break here on the American Freedom Network. My guest today, Larry Taylor, watchman on the wall, out there trying to awaken the masses, former peace officer, and in the military. Larry trying to awaken the people. You can sign up for his email alerts. Just go to LarryWTaylor.org. LarryWTaylor.org. Yes, the abomination's standing there, Larry, giving his press conference while I was trying to eat lunch, and I turned the TV on to see what the weather was going to be, and there he was, and I almost gagged.
Oh, my. I'll tell you what. I don't know if you've heard Debka. I did post a news flash this evening before the show, and what's interesting is out of Israel is reporting that basically the Obama administration has crowned Iran as the top regional nuclear threshold power in the Middle East. Says Obama's agreement anoints Iran as the top regional power with U.S. approval. And listen, you hadn't heard
So what did that? I mean, I'm sure the Saudis are sitting back going, Yeah, the
Saudis they're not shaking their hands. They're grabbing for nukes. And matter of fact, all this did was start a nuclear race. Is all it did in the Middle East. All the powers. Egypt's going after a nuke. The Saudis are buying theirs. Supposedly Pakistan's already possibly sold a couple to Saudi Arabia. They got missiles already that they can use them on. Egypt's getting ready. Of course, Israel's already sitting around. Israel's been sitting there a long time. With the old, most people forgot it, but it's a Cold War era term called the Samson option. Now, I don't know if people know what that means or who Samson was in the Bible, but that's an option Israel has had. That after the Holocaust, they said never again. You may take us down, we may go down, but buddy, you'll never forget it. And so, and that's why a guy by the name of Noah Beck, Randy, wrote a book. He works for a news service in Israel, and he wrote a book called The Last Israeli. And what's interesting, he wrote about, and you never hear about it much, but you never hear about the Israeli submarines. You hear about their sea fleets, and you hear about their guards, their Coast Guard cutters, and their gunboats, et cetera, but you never hear much about. And they've got, I'm not sure, 7 or 8, maybe 9 now. They were built in Germany. They're submarines, and they are nuclear-capable submarines. And Noah Beck, a couple of years ago, wrote a book called The Last Israeli. You can get it on Amazon.com. And he said, I'm warning the whole world. And listen, they haven't listened, Randy. The world hadn't listened. Obama hadn't listened. His people hadn't listened. But that Noah Beck wrote a book that Israel gets wiped out, I mean literally obliterated by surprise attacks of all kinds, biological, nuclear, everything, because the world wouldn't listen. In this storyline, the world didn't listen, but then the submarine surfaced, and when they thought it was, and the U.S. in this novel now, the United States, did not come to the aid of Israel. Israel was just literally obliterated, basically. But when they all thought it was over, and all the Middle East, the countries, especially Tehran, and the whole Middle East was celebrating, the submarines began to fire their missiles. And we don't hear things like this, Randy. We don't even know there is an option like that, but there is.
Yes. And those submarines, Dolphin class, I believe. And yeah, I don't know how they used. I know some years ago they had 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, there's 7 or 8 or maybe 9 now.
And they're equipped with cruise nuclear-tipped cruise missiles is basically what they're carrying. They're not carrying big, huge ICBMs like...
No.
And, yeah, I mean, they can... But see, that they're insane. Israel's enemies are insane. Israel, from time to time, is insane. They won't accept Messiah. You know.
Let me give you a headline. This is just off of the Drudge Report. As soon as we get back, I'll give it to you.
Yes. Stay tuned for the headlines, folks. We'll be right back. And we're back. Larry Taylor, my guest today. Question, comment, phone lines are open. You can sign up for his email alerts. Just go to LarryWTaylor.org. LarryWTaylor.org. And say, drop him an email, say, put me on the list. So, we got a headline from Drudge. What's going on?
Absolutely. Well, there are actually two headlines. There's one main headline. It says, Iran keeps American hostages, according to the deal. And then listen to this one. This just came out. It's on Drudge. I don't have the details on it yet, but it says, U.S. agrees, and I'm just reading the headline to you, U.S. agrees to help Iran thwart sabotage on its nuke program. Oh, did you hear what I just said?
Yes.
Does that mean, Randy? This is just a question, and this is just out to the people. They can understand what they want to. But the only one that would sabotage that nuclear program, I imagine, is Israel. And the U.S. apparently has just agreed to thwart anything Israel tries to do against Iran. We're in trouble. I mean, we're in really big trouble, Randy. This is how you bring on a big war. This is how you do it. This is how you set it up.
Well, I mean, how, we're saying, okay, well, the Iranians, they'll abide by the contract here and everything else, but what they fail to tell the people is that, well, the Muslims, when they're dealing with the infidel, whether that be us or themselves even, between Sunni and Shiite, that it's okay to lie through your teeth and lie through your teeth, and that's just the way things are done. It's just like
that's part of the process. I mean, matter of fact, when you're saying that, I know you're talking about Iran, but I'm thinking of Washington D.C. The same policy is ongoing right now. We are so infiltrated with liars, and a lot of them. And listen, a lot of people have thought the Muslim Brotherhood's gone away. Man, oh man, the biggest promoter in this world of the Muslim Brotherhood is Barack Obama.
And, well, and the Muslim Brotherhood is, they're...
Or you
don't
could
hear
say
much
ISIS.
about them.
You could say ISIS.
Yes. Can we say Al-Qaeda? Can we say, yeah, absolutely. Those guys are in the back.
Randy, really and truly, the conspiracy guys that are writing the novels the last few years, they haven't had to work real hard. You know that? To dig out a conspiracy somewhere?
Yes.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's amazing. And, but, Randy, I think, and from everybody I'm talking to, and, I was glad you had Stewart on the other day. He's had some really incredible data, on his, of course, he's been attacked a lot on his post, though, his intel reports,
yes.
Really good data. And this thing's going to wind up. This thing, well as I do, and a lot are even, this is what gets me, when we're even having generals, officers, in television interviews that are using the term now civil war. I mean, they're coming right out and saying kind of where this thing, and then you look at Texas and what's going on in Texas, and Texas is all of a sudden, you know, they're wanting their gold. They're going to build their own depository and bring their gold back, and that may be the spark. I don't know. I don't really know, but I would tell people again, I'll have to repeat it one more time, get the DVD of Jericho, the movie Jericho, season 1 and season 2, and just watch it. And, you know, if you don't know how to make your own plans about things that may begin to happen, watch the movie. It's not that far-fetched. It's not off the wall. And as a matter of fact, interestingly, it all began with a false flag, didn't it, Randy?
Absolutely. Let's see, where was that? Oh, that was Denver. Went up in a great big mushroom cloud, didn't it?
That's true. But, you know, interestingly, though, in season 2, remember they attacked Texas.
Yes.
And in season, I know you didn't read season 3 is in a graphic novel. It's not, they didn't let them make a movie out of it, but season 3, you get into the actual, state against, you know, the groups against groups warfare. And you know, it's kind of a scenario that you could, it wouldn't take a lot of fiction to see it happening. It just wouldn't. And then I'm so reminded of that old 100-year-old book or whatever. It's, you know, of the prophet, Anton Johansson out of Finland that, prophesied, not only the sinking of the Titanic, he also prophesied World War I and told where all the major battles would be fought and who would win them. And he was right after all those years. And he's dead now. But, you know, he also said that he was shown that the United States would have another civil war, and the only one he knew about was the civil war between the Confederacy, and that's probably not a good word anymore to use, and the Union. But he said there was another one coming, though, that would break the United States up into 3 or 4 different nation states, so to speak, and they would separate, and it's oh my. Randy, we're in for some times if we hang around that long. I mean, different ones of us, you know, some of us may not last through the whole movie show.
Yeah.
But then again,
yes.
Well, 1 or 2 of us might.
Well, and then if you tie that into Dmitri Duduman. Exactly. And his prophecy that the Lord gave him about the United States. And if we look at the beast, the government, are pushing. They want, I think they really do, as evil as it sounds, they want to go to war with the people. Yeah. And then we add in, well, they forget the God factor in all this. That's the one thing that's always... This is almost like, you know, you've got CERN always looking for these invisible particles, and they're beginning to find these little quarks and things. They call them, you know, that you couldn't see before, and you couldn't even write them down because you couldn't even see them to know they're there. And so we're beginning to see now little signs that all these things as we've gone along are beginning to come to pass. I mean, you know, this is, and listen, Randy, I talked to Richard Shaw the other day, and I still follow some of the Torah code traffic, you know, right, that they're doing over in Israel. And Matthew Glazerson is one of the main rabbis and Harlech that are working on some of that. And listen, they have really found some stuff. The remainder of 2015, according to the Torah codes, is really... It's not gonna be dull. I'll put it that way. And listen, 2016 I can't really talk about, but the word Yeshua has showed up there. Interesting. Yeah, and I'm not gonna make up any doctrines about, you know, his coming or even, but he's gonna be active somehow. I mean, hey, you know, I know people are tired, they're wore out, they're weary, they're beat down. I mean, we really are. I mean, you talk about the wearing down of the saints, as the Bible says, that's what's been happening to the saints, the ones that really care,
the ones that pray and seek God and try to live righteously every day, we're so beat down and wore out with the things of this world and what this world is throwing or thrusting upon us every single day. But let's not overlook the fact that there are times when heaven will do something very unusual, on the earth. And I don't know if heaven needs all that much permission to do it. I know that, the enemy of our souls has been running this planet for a long time, so to speak, but we know who holds the property deed, the deed of the property, because the enemy's just bartering it, right now. He's on borrowed time. But you remember, like you read in the begats, you read all of these men, so-and-so begatted, so-and-so begatted, all these men, and then, oh, my God, all of a sudden, Jesus' mother is in the begats. Unheard of! Unheard of! So, you see what I'm saying is, the reason, those that don't believe, the non-believers, they don't believe, that God is, they just think he's just a man, if he's out there even. They don't even not sure he's out there. If he is, he's just a man and he thinks like a man and you can fool him. Speak around and saying, he won't know. I got news for him. Not only does he perfectly well sit and smile and watch and know, he also intervenes. So I'm not too sure we haven't got some intervention coming. And, it's cement, but the Torah codes are saying the rest of 2015, the rest of this summer and on to September, October. Oh my! I mean, have your house in order is all I can say. And then 2016, if Yeshua's name is in that time code, which is 5776, I believe, actually in the Hebrew, God's people, he's real. He's real, and expect him to do something. You may get persecuted and run over by all kind of vehicles, in Babylon. But let me assure you, heaven's out there working. Heaven. Matter of fact, you got a guest coming on tomorrow night. He wrote another book too, a really interesting book called Postcards from Heaven. Really intriguing, and I'm sure he can answer some questions on Israel too. Yes. But no, it's the Middle East is a powder keg. I mean, we're right there. We're at that point in time, and it's incredible. Right now, it seems that because Turkey's been supporting ISIS, and actually, other people support Babylon supporting ISIS a little bit too. It seems, and accidentally has made airdrops of supplies, and it just fell into ISIS' hands. I can't imagine how that could happen. I can't imagine. But anyway,
not with GPS and everything else, and all the computers, and
Well, when some of the WikiLeaks stuff said that the CIA actually began ISIS under the term ISIL,
Right.
And so, that's the funny thing about this world, Randy. People that think they've got it figured out, things really aren't as they seem, are they?
No, they're not. No, they're not. But in Daniel, where he says that the saints of God will do exploits, and when the Lord said that you will do things even more miraculous than what I've done and shown you, I want to see those things. I want to do exploits, Lord.
Well, one thing that I've found with the Lord, it seems like, and the Word of God, is that you don't do practice runs. You know how our military just every day they practice putting a gun together and taking it apart and then doing it without even looking and doing it in the dark and I mean they practice, drill. Heaven don't have any drills. It's almost instantaneous. It's spontaneous. When heaven does something on the earth, it just happens. You don't even have to be a big tough guy. You can just be a little, I guess you could say, Humpty Dumpty if you want to be. And if God decides to use you, you'll be able to do what you're able to do. I mean, you will do it. You know, my Lord, there's people in the Bible, remember, that outran chariots.
Yes.
And
was,
you know,
one taking on 1,000, and yes.
Well, that's kind of interesting, too. We talked about the Samson option, which is a military term in Israel, and they really hold on to that option. And the interesting thing was, Samson took out the leadership of his enemies.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. We'll be right back. Question, comment, phone lines are open. And we're back. Randy Yarborough with you, my guest, Larry Taylor. Phone lines are open. If you got a question for Larry, comment, 877-254-7524. If you want to sign up for his email alerts, you can do that. Just go to LarryWTaylor.org, LarryWTaylor.org. Put him, just drop him an email, say, put me on the list. Put me on the list. No, this whole ISIS, Al-Qaeda, LCIADA, the whole stinking mess, Larry. I mean, it's all come out with Benghazi, that we were shipping the rockets and everything else through there. Had to get rid of Muammar Gaddafi because, well, he didn't want us pipelining and arming these guys. I mean, it's just incredible that they get away with this. I mean,
I know.
In the end, they won't get away with it. They will answer for all of this. You rich men of the earth, and you minions that are sitting in their fusion centers listening to all this, you will answer for all of this. Everyone will. I don't know if I want to. Go ahead.
The amazing part, Randy, is they simply think it. They think not believing protects them. It doesn't at all. It just simply doesn't at all. You know?
No, we're only following orders. I've just worked for my paycheck and my pension. Yes. Well, here's one. Here's one, folks. Naturalnews.com. You can also find it at revolutionradio.org. Dead baby parts harvested during partial birth abortions sold to biotech companies for, quote, scientific research, unquote. This is from LifeSite News. An undercover video released this morning shows a national leader of Planned Parenthood admitting that the abortion provider uses the illegal and highly controversial partial birth abortion procedure to sell intact fetal body parts while casually sipping wine and eating salad. Dr. Coletta revealed that she charges $30 to $100 per specimen, that fetal livers are especially in demand, although a lot of people want intact hearts these days, she says. She says,
I saw that. I saw that, Randy. I watched that last night on an expose, and it just reaffirms to me, Randy, that this abortion has all along been an industry. It's been an industry, and of course, with all the governmental protection. Now, when I say that, Randy, I am including all three branches of government, whether it's the Supreme Court, Congress, or the President. They have all three protected the abortion industry. Now, there's going to be a price to pay. They don't have a big enough check to write spiritually for that anyway, for killing these. It don't matter what they think. There's going to be a price to pay. They don't have a check big enough to write. But on the other hand, interestingly, Randy, and it don't sound good, But when they already admit, and she did on that program, I watched the video, that they're harvesting organs and such. Are you going to tell me that they haven't thought about the rest of that, making Soylent Green?
Oh.
And I know that sounds bad, Randy, but listen, there are rumors going around right now, and have been for the last number of months, that they're going to begin to stop putting the ingredients on a number of things that are bought in inside the U.S. They're just going to say made in the U.S. Products, because they don't want people to know what's in the products.
Well, it's Pepsi using enzymes from fetal tissue to enhance the flavor.
Yeah, we've been doing that all along, but I'm afraid it's going to get worse, Randy. I'm afraid it's going to get worse. I'll tell you what, the movie Soylent Green, if people hadn't watched that, they really should, because where Obamacare literally has taken us is to those little rooms where they play that pretty scenery, and you go away, and then you're taken away, and then there's
processed
chips to eat. Yeah.
Your process.
Green stuff. Green. We like the color green. Solid green. Oh, my. So I don't know, Randy. I'm just, we're in a time, that's what's bad, Randy, is a time that even the word Babylon, I'm not sure covers it. Sodom, Gomorrah. I mean, where are we, literally, in this country?
Well, if we look at Babylon, if we really study this out, and Jeremiah 50:51, okay, Revelation 18, read those. Every single pointer that describes Babylon is describing us.
Absolutely.
Not ancient Babylon. It's describing us.
Exactly.
The city. And
that's what I used to listen to Stuart Best so much when he would lay out he would just begin to lay out, as the people mocked him, he would lay out the perimeters of Babylon. My God, there was only one nation in this whole world that matched the perimeters. But yet they continued to mock, and he was a liar, and, et cetera, et cetera. But, the people that they really can't mock much anymore. It's become too much in the open. It's become too much in the open, I believe now, to really even try to deny it.
Well, and then we got the folks out there saying, well, this is just mystery Babylon. It's all spiritual. They all spiritualize it away. This, and it's both.
Exactly. There's a physical Babylon. There's a religious Babylon, as far as I'm concerned. We know kind of where that's operating. There's a spiritual, a material Babylon. It's in all these. It's all these phases. It's really there, but we're towards the, and I got to thinking, Randy, when the Lord comes back, that's a point. That's His day. That's the Lord's day. His day will last when it begins. Whatever day He arrives on planet Earth, re-arrives, I should put it that way, that will actually begin 1,000 years of His day. His day is going to last 1,000 of our years. And, I got to thinking, Randy, because the enemy is going to be let loose again at the end of that 1,000 years to tempt and to test the trial of the people.
Yes.
Could there be even one more Babylon at the end of the 1,000 years?
Well, Babylon's been around for a long time.
And keeps coming back.
And we're back. Phone lines are open. 877-254-7524. Question, comment for my guest, Larry Taylor. How are you guys out there celebrating Jade Helm Day? Yes.
Well, in my part of the country, we're just trying to keep electricity and the satellite working in our area. It's all over the country, I'm getting reports of troubles and interferences and connectivity problems. Even before Jade Helm's official opening, which was today, there's been at least a couple of weeks of really, really problematic internet activity that's unexplainable.
Yeah, internet. Well, we got the whole quote glitch unquote of Wall Street Journal, United Airlines, New York Subway now. So listen up, folks. If your cell phone all of a sudden goes dead, because that was part of the Jade Helm deal, was being able to tap into the communication systems and, well, steal the bandwidth. Yeah.
That's part of it, and I think they're testing it. I think they're actually, for at least the last 2 weeks, have been playing with that and testing and running some practice runs even before it officially started.
Right. We had a report out of Gunnison, Colorado, of some of the brass sitting in a restaurant discussing the, operation that, this was yesterday, operation that's taking place starting tomorrow. That's about all that was overheard, and we're just trying to get, a little bit more information on that. And if I do, I'll put that out tomorrow. So
that's very interesting. Hey, I was going to tell you, now we're talking about Babylon. I don't know if you've seen skywatchtv.com. That's Tom Horn's new website, skywatchtv.com. And a new headline, Spring 2016, all about lacy shirts, floral prints, and silky fabrics for today's men. End of gender old-fashioned ideas. We're changing.
Well, they've done everything to destroy the family. That was the bedrock of the Lord's governmental hierarchy, was the family at the top.
Well, the interesting thing is, it's not the church. The church is not where your spirituality begins. It's at home. It's at home. So if they can destroy the family, they literally can destroy the whole future thought path or spiritual path, either one of the entire group of the family. They just kind of headed off at the pass, so to speak. And we're there, and there's so many pastors, like you said, that have literally sold their soul. I mean, to just not tell the people the truth. And I don't know. I just hope I don't have to stand in their line when Judgment Day comes. It's going to be a powerful thing, and I hope I'm not in the wrong place. I mean, I'm striving to stay narrow and to tell the truth, but there's so many that are just really not paying attention to that.
No.
And Randy, I don't know how long. I really seriously don't know how long we can keep. And we're not even warning people anymore. I feel more or less like I'm, if you read my blog lately, it's like I'm chronicling or I'm writing about everyday events. There's not any more warning. We're living the warning, so we're there, and now we're just writing down events of the day as each day passes. And I don't know how long we'll have the freedom to even do that, but we will as long as we can. I know you will, and I know that I will, and others. We'll go as long as we can. 877-254-7524. Question, comment. We need folks. Well, we need your eyes, your ears out there. What's going on? What? And listen, something we haven't even mentioned. I just want to mention it. That's all I want to do.
Yes.
Is, for years, I took photographs, live photographs of things dropping into our space-time, and people said, oh, that's too weird. That had to be dirt or a smudge on your camera. I mean, there's always something wrong with every picture I took. And do you know now, all of a sudden, they're coming out with things that have literally dropped from the sky, that are being photographed, and people are going, oh, look at that. And I'm thinking, I've been looking at that a long, long time.
Well, the other day there was one showed up that was out of the cloud moved, and it the cloud was swirling around, and here was a perfect cube, just like you would have seen out of Star Trek and the Borg.
Exactly. Listen, most of the, Spielberg and those guys, they were being tipped off to what some of this stuff looked like. Like one of my favorite shows was that abduction movie Taken. Remember when Spielberg did Taken?
Yes.
Well, he actually interviewed one of Tom Horn's kinfolks who had been abducted. The Greys and all this kind of stuff, and that was part of the movie. And and I know people think those are just movies. There's reality embedded in those movies like you would not believe.
Are they warning us? Do they have to warn us? I mean, they being the rich men of the earth and
It seems, Randy, to be part of the rich men or the elite's programming for some reason to warn us through movies and radio shows, TV shows, this kind of thing. I don't know why they do, but it seems like they do it. And I've heard some of the insiders talking and saying they do this on purpose. They just drop these hints in movies and things to what's really coming or what is reality, and they say that nobody will believe it anyway, so who's going to catch them, And I suppose they're right in that degree.
Because, well, let's see, Babylon is mad on their idols.
Oh, my.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Finish off today's show here on the American Freedom Network. And we're back with the closing minutes of today's show. Randy Yarborough with you, my guest, Larry Taylor. You can sign up for his email alerts and his blog. Just go to LarryWTaylor.org. LarryWTaylor.org. And just email him from there and say, hey, put me on the list. We're being attacked on every front, Larry. We're being attacked.
And one thing I wanted to do, Randy, on this show today is because I've been in a lot of prayer the last few weeks and really a lot of intercession, and I absolutely believe that circumstances and what the enemy's doing and what's happening in our nation and around the world is wearing down the saints to almost the point they literally feel they have no hope left. I'm serious. They're wore out and they're prayed out and they're just almost, some of them almost to the point they want to give up. But listen, I want to encourage them. Hang on there. Hang on, because, the Word of God says stand. When you've done everything else, stand. Sometimes, Randy, we have to wait on the Lord. We have to wait on Him. He's our strength. We're not our own strength, or we can't even be, okay? No. But, Randy, there was I listened to a woman out of Syria the other day that was actually, she was 80-something years old. She was given a prophecy in Aramaic, speaking Aramaic. And the prophecy was saying, wait on the Lord. And she said, keep on standing. And this is coming out of Syria now, where they're being slaughtered. The Christians are being slaughtered. And she was saying, woe to those that go away now and leave the Lord. In other words, it's like this is the time of the falling away, the literal falling away. And wouldn't it be a terrible thing, Randy, to go this far and then turn away right at the last moment?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
So I'm encouraging people to hold on. Hold on. I know you're tired. I know you're prayed out. I know you're worn out. I know you're weary to the nth degree, but hang on a little longer. Wait upon the Lord. I'll guarantee you, His Word says it, and I believe it, Randy. He will not be late.
Absolutely. And for those out there on the fence sitters, you need to read Joshua 24:14 through 17. You're going to have to choose who you're going to serve? The gods of Babylon? The gods of the fathers on the other side of the flood? Or are you going to choose to serve the Lord? That's what it's coming down to. Choose this day whom ye will serve. And you can't serve God and mammon at the same time, can you, Larry?
No, Randy, and that point you just made is excellent and timely. And we're right there. Choose you this day. We're literally right there. Folks, you're not going to be able to ride the fence any longer. It's over. Riding the fence is over. That fence is turning into pure barbed wire, and it's going to slice you in half if you don't get off of it one way or the other. You're going to have to get off, and you're going to have to make your choice. And there we are, Randy. I mean, we're really right there. But I do want to encourage people, hold on. Hold on. I know it looks bad. I know it feels bad. I know it sounds bad. I know it even smells bad. Hold on a little longer.
Hold on a little longer. Amen and amen and amen. Larry Taylor, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Randy, and shalom, my friends.
Shalom to you. God bless and hang in there. And remember, folks, the question is not, do you know the Lord Jesus Christ? The question is, does He know you?